So this is the last of the videos that I'm doing where I'm talking about my experience rereading the Max Cámara novels, the 6 existing Max Cámara novels. And this is going to be the hardest video for me to do, not so much because of the novel and because of what it tells, what the story's about, but because of the circumstances around which I had to write the novel, and there's quite painful memories for me there. But the novel itself is Fatal Sunset, and it's set around a murder in a disco up in the mountains north of Valencia. And also Max's partner, Alicia, who's a journalist, she's also investigating some strange goings on at an island, a very small island near Mallorca called Cabrera. And Cabrera, interestingly, and this is what led to that storyline being developed for this novel, that island was actually where the world's first concentration camp was built. People often assume, and they say, that the British invented the concentration camp during the Boer War. Actually, it was the first concentration camps were being built by the Spanish during the Napoleonic Wars, where they were imprisoning thousands of French officers, the majority of whom actually died on Cabrera because of the conditions there. Anyway, that's a whole other sort of storyline. But what makes it difficult to talk about this book is because it was the low point, the final low point of how my relationship was going with my publisher at the time, Chatto and Windus. That relationship had started out so well, so positive years before I even started writing the Max Cámara novels. I think there were a couple of books that I did non-fiction with them first. And then I started on the Max Cámara novels. And the Max Cámara novels were doing incredibly well. I was getting great reviews. I mean, reviews to die for. And I was getting fantastic response from you, from readers. And that was just amazing. And I was writing better and better books. And they were getting longer and then more complex. I felt like I was really kind of growing into the art of crime fiction. But the world of publishing, as I think I've said in other videos, the world of publishing has changed a lot in the 20 odd years that I've been that I was in the mainstream. And from being a world which was really about the books and about sort of literary value and about sort of culture and sort of pushing the envelope, I think, of culture in general, it gradually became taken over by the bean counters. The accountants took over the publishing world as they've taken over so many areas of our lives. And so it was all about the money. It was all about the bottom line. And that just doesn't really work in the book world. So the problem was that even though I was getting absolutely amazing reviews and great response from my readers, as far as my publishers were concerned, or the accountants at my publishers were concerned, the sales were just not where they were meant to be. And so rather than sort of turning around and say, right, well, this guy's obviously writing great books because look at the reviews, we just need to get behind them more, rather than that being their response, which you'd think would be the logical one, it was really the sort of shit was thrown at my direction. It was like, it was all my fault. It was my fault that the books weren't selling. And so this kind of nosedive, the relationship really started to nosedive, which meant that I wasn't really in a good place to continue writing the novels. And in fact, I really took my time to start writing this novel, the 6th Max Cámara novel, because I suppose I was just sort of feeling pretty uncomfortable, and it was quite painful working with my publishers by that point. And I felt that I needed to break away and do some other things and start writing some other things. So I did actually sort of write a completely different novel, which has never been published and maybe never will, I'm not sure. But I was taking my time, and it was the first time ever in my publishing career as a writer that I hadn't been a good boy and handed in my homework on time. I'd actually, I was late with my homework. And then out of the blue, completely out of the blue, I got a message from my agent saying, right, listen, they're gonna cancel this contract and you're not gonna get paid and your writing career is over unless you hand in this novel by such and such a date. And I looked at the calendar, and it basically meant I had 21 days. I had 21 days to write this novel. And that was quite a shock, not least because I hadn't planned anything. I had no idea at all about what the 6th Max Cámara novel was going to be. I had no title, I had no plan, I had no concept at all. And so kind of out of a sort of a screw you attitude to my publishers, I thought, well, I'm not going to let these bastards beat me down. And I sat down there and then at my kitchen table with a pile of paper, and I just started scribbling out ideas, and I wrote that novel. I wrote that novel actually in 20 days. I got it in a day early, which was great. I was really proud of the fact that I was able to do that. But the problems didn't end there. What happened afterwards was that basically my publishers, I don't think the term had been coined at this point, but basically they tried to cancel me. They obviously just didn't want to work with me anymore, and they did their best to try and cancel me. They threw all kinds of pretty nasty accusations at me, all the usual kinds of insults that you throw at people when you want to cancel them. I'm not going to go into them here, but it was very painful for me because this is a group of people who I had worked with very closely and felt that I'd had a good relationship with, and then all of a sudden for it to go so sour like that. First of all, to sort of give me this sort of ridiculous deadline to write the book in, which I then did, but then to sort of throw all this stuff at me, it was pretty painful. So that, in a way, is why I am now in the world of independent publishing. It wasn't immediate, but the seeds were sown right there and then for me to break away. I went to another publishing house, Little Brown, after this, and I did publish a book with them, Violencia, which is my history of Spain, which I enjoyed doing, and it's a great book. But actually the seeds had been sown with this really negative experience with Chatto and Windus. And so I was, later on when I broke away, it was very much, that was what I was breaking away from. I was breaking away from that kind of toxic culture that really has kind of taken over a lot of publishing now. And it's the reason why a lot of people like me are breaking away and doing their own thing, because it's sort of become intolerable actually to work in mainstream media for all kinds of reasons. And this isn't for everybody, and it's not across the board, but it is becoming very, very difficult to work in mainstream media, in mainstream publishing as a writer. So Fatal Sunset, the 6th novel in the series, and I do want to write a 7th novel this year in 2023, and I really want to bring Max back with a bang in 2023. But for that to happen, I need your help. Now, there are only a few hours left of this crowdfunder campaign to bring back Max. Please help as much as you can. If you've pledged already, thank you very, very much. But remember, this is an all or nothing campaign. So if we don't hit our target, I'm afraid that's it. There's going to be no Max Cámara. So if you know anybody who is interested in this, or know anybody who wants to support, please reach out to them, and hopefully we can make this happen. As I say, there are just a few hours left now of this campaign to run, but I'm very hopeful that we can hit the target. Anyway, thank you very, very much. It's been fantastic to get your messages of support and to read your comments and to see how much love there is out there for Max Cámara. It's been absolutely wonderful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's see if we can hit this target in the next few hours. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.